Anyway, you guys are in for a big old treat. We got a great show for you. Your feature performer tonight, old friend of mine, he's a veteran comedian, and I know, don't salute him. And he's also the lead singer for the band The Non-Essentials. Please make some noise for my friend Mike Nilsson.
Thank you. A big hand for Donna Watts. Wasn't she great? Man. And thanks for coming out here to the Caravan. This is a great comedy club. It's the original comedy club here in Louisville, man. That is amazing. They've been here all these years. We want you guys to continue supporting the Caravan because it's just a matter of time till it gets turned into a vape shop. So yeah, eventually the whole Mid-City Mall is going to be Mid-City Vape Shop Mall. And the Kratom guys are going to have their own store, whatever the hell that is. I am in a pretty good mood, man. I had a great, I had a great holiday season. It's not always so awesome, but this one was good. I saw my dad, spent time talking to my dad, and It's interesting. Okay, I'll tell you this first. My dad is 82 years old, and he's a retired New York City firefighter. Yeah, little interesting fact about, thank you. Yeah, that's recognition that the guy's a hero, right? Firefighters, man, heroes. When I was a kid, I never thought of my dad as a hero. I just thought of him as a guy that didn't want to play catch with me. All the heroic shit was happening at work, apparently. It messed me up, right? Sure, you have these traumatic events in your childhood, but my dad is an old school New Yorker. I'm from there as well. I grew up on Long Island, but I lost my accent a long time ago. But my dad, he's still got it, man. He's like he'll call my cell phone and get my voicemail, and he leaves a message. It's like this. It goes, "Mike, it's your father." Oh, well, thank you for identifying yourself, sir. I didn't know maybe if some random guy with a New York accent was just calling my phone. "Mike, it's Abe Vigoda." I don't know who this could have been. It was my dad leaving the message, and he doesn't like talking on the phone. So, like on my birthday one time, he called me and missed me and got my voicemail, and the message was, "Mike, it's your father. Call me." So I called him back, and he answered the phone. He goes, "Hey, Mike, happy birthday. Here's your mother." That was all I got from the old man. But here's the thing. My dad, in my entire life, has never said, "I love you," to me. Yeah, well, here's the thing. I've spent years in therapy working on this. I self-diagnosed that this was what was causing me, to be such a fuck-up. I figured it's got to be that. Put my finger on it. He didn't say "I love you" to me. So I went to see the therapist one time, and I'm telling her this story, and she says, "Well, why don't you say "I love you" to him and see what happens?" I'm like, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I'm not paying you barely over the copay for that kind of bullshit advice. But I did. I'm doing the work. I am doing the work. I had this conversation with my dad this past Father's Day. We talked for a little while, and right at the end there, I just decided I'm going to slip it in. I worked up the courage, and right there at the end of the conversation, I was like, "Okay, I love you." And this long pause, and then my dad goes, "Okay, bye." Wow, yeah, he didn't quite know how to process what I was saying, I guess. That's not really what you want to hear when you tell someone "I love you." Imagine you're in the early stages of a romance, and you're feeling that special warmth towards that other person, and you want to say it, you're just building up to it, and finally you're out there on a blanket in a pasture with the sunshine and the cool breezes, and you turn to that person and you go, "I love you. I love you." You don't want them to go, "Okay, bye." Just grab the basket and get out of here. It's all right. It's okay. Comedians get up here and we talk about this stuff because basically every comedian has issues, psychological, emotional issues, and it leaves us with a big gaping void that can only be filled by the love of an audience, the laughter and applause that we get from people in the audience. That's what fills the void. So, oh man, ooh, yeah, ooh, my void. My void feels great right now. That means. But I live here now. I live right here in Louisville, Kentucky. How about it, man? Louisville, Kentucky, the greatest city in Kentucky. Paducah coming on strong, though. Might be taking the second spot. No, I met my wife at this club. This is cool. So this is why I always enjoy being up on this stage, because in 1988, November of 1988, I met my wife, the woman I'm married to now for 31 years. I met her right there in that hallway back there when this place was called the Funny Farm. Yeah, it was, yeah, man. She stole my heart. Kentucky girls, Kentucky women, man. They're just, aren't they, guys, the most beautiful Kentucky women? Now, the guys are butt fucking ugly. I have noticed that. They are not looking so good. Yeah. Men in Indiana are more attractive than men in Kentucky. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to start a turf war in here. No, she's a Kentucky woman. Remember that song? Neil Diamond wrote a song. He was so impressed. Kentucky woman. Da, da, da. Remember that song? Yeah. Kentucky woman, she'll get to know you. I don't know if you know the lyrics, but Kentucky woman, she'll get to know you. Kentucky woman, she'll grow to own you. That's exactly what happened to me. They keep me in a crate in the kitchen. Every once in a while, they'll let me out. Raised 2 daughters right here in Louisville. They're now 24 and 27. And yeah, it's a great place. I feel like a native. I feel like, after all the years that I've lived here, the culture has kind of seeped in, and, like Derby is my favorite time of year. It's a great time of year. It's a special, wonderful time of the year where we all get to find out that Travis Tritt is still alive. It is always a magical experience to see him there and being interviewed on Millionaire's Row. You're like, oh, wow, that's... Showing up at a party at the Barnstable Brown place, and he's like, well, I'm Travis Tritt. I'm on your list there. Look it up. Didn't you die in 2014, Mr. Tritt? I wrote a song. I've been doing a lot of music lately. I wrote a song about the Derby. It's a breakup song. It's a breakup song that takes place during the Derby. It's called You Put a Curtain Around My Heart and Shot It So the Crowd Wouldn't See. It's a love song. It's a breakup song. I love music. Music is everywhere, man. You just, you got to pay attention. Like when you're at Kroger now, they're playing music to get you in the mood to buy more stuff. It's cool music, too. It's been updated. I mean, I was at Kroger, I heard Jump, Jump by Criss Cross. Remember those guys? Wore their pants backwards in the video. Jump, jump. Daddy Mac will make you jump, jump. Remember the song? Oh. Kind of out of breath now. I shouldn't have done that. That was a bad idea. But man, they are playing some. You don't expect to hear songs you just don't expect. I walked into Kroger a couple of weeks ago. It was like my soundtrack. I walked into the vestibule. The glass doors parted, and I heard this. It was like, you know where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. You're gonna die! Yeah, it was Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses. You're in the jungle and you're gonna die. I don't know if that's really the message Kroger wants to be sending to its customers, but standing in front of the bacon going, well, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna get that thick bacon. $12.99 a pound, man. I'm not messing around. And Guns N' Roses back in the 80s, when they were writing these anthemic rock songs, were thinking, they're up there in their house in the hills with a bunch of junkies and prostitutes writing these incredible rock songs. They're just sitting around there getting high, thinking, you know what, guys? One of these days, they're going to be playing our music at the Kroger in Holiday Manor. It's going to be awesome. You know what I'm saying, guys? People are gonna be shopping for coffee filters, hearing our shit playing over the PA. Oh man, I do love music though. You know, there's a difference though with comedians and musicians. I found this out. I didn't find it out, but I just kind of realized recently that here's the thing. When Bruce Springsteen, when he was 24 years old, wrote "Born to Run," excuse me, and James Taylor, when he was 24 years old, wrote "Fire and Rain." So these guys are still in their late 70s. In James' case, they're going out there every night. They're singing these songs that were, what was going through their minds when they were 24 years old. So I started thinking about it, and I found one of my old notebooks from back then, and I took a picture of the page because I figured, you guys as an audience that are filling my void, you would appreciate the kind of stuff I was doing when I was 24, just like those guys doing those old songs, bringing them back every year. So I found this stuff that I wrote from when I was 24. In 1988, right before I met my wife, I wrote, this is some of the stuff that I wrote. Kitty Dukakis, what's the deal? I went to see my drug dealer. He tried to sell me that new Coke. Oh, it gets better. Is it just me? Or am I the only one up here that the waitresses won't have sex with? Is it just me? I was into a "is it just me" phase back then when I was 24. That's all I got from back then. She married me anyway. I was doing those jokes up here on that stage. On this stage, man. Now I'm 59 years old. Yeah. You know what I got at age 59? I got this. I got this thing. Yeah, man, it's called a waddle. You're right. That's what chickens and turkeys and apparently me also. A waddle. Just happens. You get older and your skin on your face starts to sag and it just kind of drops down here. But I've got kind of a double thing going on. I don't know what is happening. I'm an overachiever. That's what I look like, a sailboat with two rudders underneath it is what I'll tell you what I don't have at this age. That's pretty awesome. I don't have sleep apnea. Yeah. Well, you can tell there's sleep apnea guys because they've all got those lines on the side of their face, especially in the morning, right? You've noticed they got that? It's from the straps of the CPAP machine. They've got this thing on either side. It's like war paint. They're like they're in a tribe. We are the CPAP tribe. We will gather up here on the ridge and swoop down and take on the erectile dysfunction guys. Let's ride! Yeah! Yeah, man. So now that I'm older and I'm doing this, I am what is referred to as a veteran comedian. That's what, Donna said that in my introduction. A veteran comedian, which is not, it's a kind of a polite way of saying old comedian is what it is. And it's not like being a real veteran. People aren't thanking me for my service as a veteran comedian. Are there any real veterans in here, military vets? Let me hear you. A couple of you? Yeah, man, these people deserve it. Veteran comedians, I was there in '86, I remember. I was there at the Chuckle Shack in Macon, Georgia. We were in the shit. It was me, Carrot Top. We were just... I'll never forget 1989 when they opened those two clubs at Cincinnati across town from each other. And you had to choose which one to go work at. Nobody cares about the veteran comics. And I get this a lot when I try to book shows now. I will hear from people, they'll go, well, our audience really prefers younger comedians. We like younger comics. I'm like, well, like who? And they'll go, like Pete Davidson. You know who that is? Pete Davidson? From Saturday Night Live? Well, yeah, so I decided to look into what is happening and why this guy is so popular. I found out that he has big dick energy. That's, do you guys, are you familiar with that? Do you have, if you have it, sir, do you have it yourself? I would like to know more about it, because it's keeping me from getting work, and I gotta go find some. No, I found out exactly what it is. I Googled it, which is not something I would recommend to any of you guys that are married, especially. Big dick energy. So apparently, it means he's very confident. He's got a swagger because of what's happening down here. It's giving him the. Well, right, yeah, sure. And I guess he goes out and he does the jokes, and if he doesn't get a laugh, he just hits people with it in the audience. That's a lot of value for your entertainment dollar right there. But I've learned in my years of experience, I have learned a lot. I've gathered some wisdom. I feel like I have wisdom. I feel like I have experience. And when I was younger, I just had enthusiasm. That's what I've decided now. It's wisdom versus enthusiasm. When you're younger, you're just excited about everything. You may not be making all the best choices. Like, for an example, I was, this past summer, I was walking down the street, and I saw these teenage kids, high school kids, on the other side of the street that were having a car wash for their high school, raising money. They had those big giant posters, they're homemade, and they were like, car wash! They were so into it, man. They were like, car wash! And with each car that would turn in, it would build up their confidence. So they're getting more and more crazy with it. Car wash! They were just going nuts. And people were turning in, it was working. But then I saw a funeral procession approaching these kids. Yeah, it was a hearse with 8 or 10 cars behind it. And you know, the hearse had the little purple flags on top. And these kids didn't miss, they didn't skip a beat. Car wash! Car wash! They didn't care. They did not care. And you know, the guy driving the hearse is probably thinking like, well, you know, that guy back there is not going to care if I turn in here and get this thing buffed up. I was pretty wild though when I was in my when I was a comedian on the road back in the early '80s. I was pretty crazy, man. I had long hair and a leather jacket. I thought I was a badass. I was wild. My wife was wild when she was younger. Her friends as well. My wife, I remember, told me this one time when I came home. She said, "Hey, my friend Colleen from high school, her boyfriend is in this punk rock band that we want. You know, she wants us to go see them play a show." And I was like, "Well, that's cool. That sounds great." And she goes, "Well, there's something else in the mix, though. Apparently, he gave her an STD that she found out about, and now she's going to break up with him, but they decided not to break up until after this big show at the punk rock club. It's going to be somebody there from the record company or something." So I'm like, well, this sounds fucking awesome. You know, I've just got to go and be part of this. So we show up to see the band. The band is called Spankenstein's Monster. Awesome, right? Yeah. So they're up there playing the punk rock. He's the lead singer. He's doing the whole thing. And they finish one song, and then they're getting ready to jump into the next song, and the guy goes, "I want to send this song out dedicated to Colleen." You know, people start clapping and everything. He goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, crabs! Crabs! That was the song. It was called Crabs. And he's like, "They look like little spiders, and they're really, really creepy. I gave them to my girlfriend, and now she hates me because crabs!" Yeah, it was a real song. I actually had their CD. I got it after I saw the show. I went to Ear Ecstasy down the road here to the local artist section, and I got the CD by the band Spankenstein's Monster. Creation and Creator, that's what they called their album. And right there, track 12, Crabs. They didn't stay together, in case you were wondering. They grew up and... Well, I saw the guy. I actually did see the punk rock guy. I was at the Science Museum downtown about 15 years ago with my kids. They were little. And I see the guy. I never forget a face. But it took me a couple of minutes to figure out who this was because he didn't look the same. He had a cute haircut and a cute little sweater. And he's like a stockbroker now or something. Got his wife and his kids. And, you know, and I'm just looking at the guy. And all of a sudden the song is now playing in my head. Crabs. And I'm not singing it out loud. I'm just kind of, you know. My kids are going, "Daddy, are you okay?" You know. I didn't say anything to the guy. He didn't recognize me, and I didn't want to walk up to him. But if I did, I would have said, "Hey, have you guys been to this exhibit upstairs, the oceanography exhibit? They got sharks and dolphins and jellyfish and crabs." You get older, you make smarter decisions, hopefully. 2023 is completely blowing my mind. For some reason, the sound of that year, right? It sounds like one of those years where there were fictional science fiction stories in the 1970s that took in 2023, actually, when I was younger, when I was a little kid and I thought about the future, I did have an optimistic idea of what it was going to be like. I picked that up from somewhere. So I'm like, hey, in the future, it's going to be like a utopia. Everybody's going to love each other. We're going to live in a domed city underwater. What we have instead of that is we have the word barista. Got that? Yeah. Well, back then, the word barista didn't even exist. If someone acted like a barista, you just called them an asshole. But that was not a thing. 2023. You know what we do have? I have a watch now that tells me, you can still do it! In the afternoon, if you've been inactive most of the day, you get a little and buzzes, and you look and it goes, you can still do it! That's the voice I'm imagining it has. It's kind of passive-aggressive, really. You can still do it! I guess you can program it to say whatever you want. Get up, fat ass! I think that would maybe motivate me a little more. You can still do it. Kind of reminded me of Bruce Springsteen's mom. Remember that live recording? You can still go back to college. It's not too late. You can still go back to college. Nobody else had that but me. I was the only one. I had Spankenstein's Monster, and I had Springsteen live at Rutherford. East Rutherford, New Jersey. It was a cool recording. His mom was in the audience, so he was talking about how she's out there going, you can still go back to college! Because he was a big rock star. I will explain every one of these fucking jokes if I have to. I know, I do some weird references that nobody gets, and Neil Diamond, who's that? Yeah. And we have the technology now. We have amazing technology. It's in our pockets, and it gets a little out of control sometimes. I was at my haircut earlier this week, and I'll tell you the haircut story first, and then I'll tell you the cell phone story. So I go to this place in town. I've been going there for years. It's an old school, old man barber shop. You walk in, and the first time I was there, I did not know what was going to happen after the haircut. So here's something that they do. The guy finished my haircut, the barber, he goes, you want the vibrators? I'm like, where? And how many are we talking about here? No, they have these big, giant electric vibrators. They put them on the backs of their hands, and they turn it on. Click. And they'll rub your shoulders and your neck and your scalp. Well, yeah, it's amazing. You got a great haircut and this, and it was like $4 for the whole thing. No, I was there, and a guy was doing the thing, and the first time I was like, holy shit! It was just amazing. It's like, I think I'm in love with this guy. What is it? I'm married. This will never work. But, we did have that one special afternoon together, me and Kevin, the barber. No, I actually go to Kevin about once a month now. I go in there and get the haircut, and it's always a relaxing experience. I close my eyes, I'm back in the chair, he's doing the haircut. So earlier this week, this was happening. I'm sitting there, I got my eyes closed. The place is packed with people. Most of them are there for Kevin. The word is out about the vibrators and the whole thing. So I hear this voice, I hear this man's voice go, no, I can't do that. I have to drop some things off at Tim's, period. That kind of caught me off guard. Then I hear, no, let's not take the wives this time, period. We'll meet at Morton's at 5:30 and go to the game after that, period. LOL, period. Laughing, crying emoji, period. Minions laughing, GIF, period. The guy was dictating his texts out loud at the barber shop. He's a douche. The guy is a douche. And he's letting everyone know that he can afford to have dinner at Morton's without the wives. So then I hear this. 300 milligrams cyclobenzaprine twice a day, period. Yeah, the guy, he's a doctor. He's a douche doctor. He's Dr. Douche. He is the bragging, he's Dr. Braggadocio. That's what he is. He's a chief medical officer at Douche County General Medicine Hospital place. So I turned to Kevin, I'm like, hey man, will you fuck up this guy's haircut for me? Can you do that? Make him look like Bjork. That's what I want. I want everybody at Morton's to be laughing at the guy who has the Bjork haircut before he takes his friends down to go watch U of L lose a basketball game. Oh, that's my fault now. Okay, all right. We blamed everyone else. How about the comedian? Hey, yeah, I don't have a dog, as they say in that hunt. I moved here in 1989, the same year Rick Pitino came to coach at from the New York Knicks. Came from the New York Knicks to the Kentucky college basketball team, and he was just like, I'm a big fan of the films of Martin Scorsese, so I thought this guy was perfect, man. He had the hair slicked back and those shiny suits, and he's all like New York guy. Yeah, we had a tough night on the boards, and I got a body in my trunk. Okay, I'm all right. Get your shine box. So, see, there was a movie called Goodfellas, and Billy Batts was telling Tommy to get his shine box. I always kind of imagine Rick Pitino telling Tubby Smith to get his shine box. Hey, Tubby, get your shine box. So last week, actually a couple weeks ago, my buddy took me to my very first UK basketball game at Rupp Arena. That was cool. Yeah, it was great, man. I had a great time. They lost that night, but I got the whole experience. My favorite part is the guy that stands up and does this out in the stands. A guy in the stands doing this, and then he'll turn around and do this. And then he looks at everybody like he's pissed, and then he's doing it again. Apparently this guy wants everybody to stand up, right? He's urging other people in the stands to stand up. And I'm sitting there going, well, I wasn't gonna stand up, but now that this fat guy from Cynthiana is waving his arms at me, better stand up. Okay. I guess the Tubby Smith reference, that really just kind of put the whole thing in the shitter. I am sorry. I am so sorry. Billy Gillespie. Worst coach? Yeah, we can just go through them all right now if you want, man. Adolf Rupp, Nazi. How about that? The guy was a Nazi. Now, I don't know if he was. His name was Adolf. That's not a name you just throw around. But he was born before Adolf Hitler, so that makes it okay. Woo! We've gone down the rabbit hole here, haven't we? Oh, when I did the Tubby Smith thing, I was not using wisdom, I was using enthusiasm. I got caught up in the moment. I wanted to see if I got my prop with me. I do this thing. Okay, so let me tell you the story first before I show you the prop. So, wisdom versus enthusiasm. But sometimes you have to do both. You just have to forget your age and just go out there and do something crazy to remind yourself of how rebellious and wild you were when you were younger. So the other day I stole this pen from the drive-thru at CVS when I was picking up my medication. Woo! I'm in the jungle, baby! Yeah. And after 31 years of marriage, I have learned that there's always going to be something new that you never thought would happen. You're going to hear something you never thought you would hear. My wife said this to me recently. I was getting ready to get in bed. My wife says to me, listen, you're going to have to do a better job of washing your feet if you want to get in bed with me. I had never heard that, ever. So I thought, hey, let's break it down here on the whiteboard, because this is a complicated, kind of idea. So she said, okay, so she says, listen, so I'm listening. She says, you're going to have to do a better job of washing your feet. And I give her credit for that, because she's assuming that I'm washing my feet at all, and that's... Better job of washing your feet if you want to get in bed with me. Now, get in bed can mean a lot of different things, and I'm thinking to myself, well, if I'm going to get laid, I'll put socks on, But I did. I felt bad, We're laying there, and I'm like, honey, I'm really sorry about my dirty feet, and I love you. And she goes, okay, bye. That's my show. Thanks a lot.